July 2015. So about a month and a half after this podcast, they had renewed interest in it. And that was the aunt of Malcolm Scott and, what was the other gentleman's name? Marco Carpenter, Mr. Carpenter. And they had been wrongfully accused of a crime they did not commit. And they were set free last week after serving 20 years in prison. That's why I played that clip, because I wanted you to hear the pain in this woman's voice. And I was probably a little overexcited. This was my first podcast for We the People Oklahoma. Couldn't even get the name right. Just, wow. You never know where your words may lead another person. It may inspire them to carry on. You know, maybe you can connect two people together. Maybe that added oomph. Finding that right person. You just never know. And it's important. And I have some of her words from this article. A friend of mine, Ziva, had written this article, and she got a statement from Edith, I think's her name. Let me scroll down this page. Whoops, I must have scrolled too far. Sorry. Tired? Let's see. Looking for... And this was the crime from 94 that they were not guilty of course. Lockridge is her last name. And it's in a public article. And she had said family members, we're told Carpenter and Scott were supposed to be transported back to Department of Corrections on Monday. They found out the information back in February, and they were formally released when the judge said that they were innocent. They were clearly innocent. I forget the exact phrase, but this is an amazing happening. Amazing. And right here, and as she stated in my podcast, she said this, Lockridge said she believes the two were moved, well, this part she didn't say, believes the two were moved to solitary cells because their case had raised allegations. Now, this is the part she had talked about. If you remember from earlier in the podcast where she had said that Tulsa police coerced witnesses to testify falsely in their 1995 trial. This is where she said they were being tasered. That two 15-year-old kids, basically, were being tasered until they decided to change their testimony. And then that was business as usual there. But she's an amazing woman. Amazing. Just wonderful person. And to have that person as my first caller. I mean, the irony of that. I mean, it's just, whoa. Let me look up that other information really quick. Yeah, I met Malcolm Scott. And the Frontier is a wonderful place to get some information if you're interested in investigative reporting in Oklahoma. Yeah, the Frontier. But you can only go on the site like 4 times per day, I think it is. I think this is my 3rd time today. Michael Wilson is the one that killed the person. And his last words were, Malcolm Scott and DeMarque Carpenter are innocent. And this is just, wow. The truth really did set them free. And we need to speak in truth. And it was first-degree murder convictions that kept them behind bars for over 20 years. False convictions, I might say. And the Tulsa County District Judge Sharon Holmes took the added step of declaring both men, quote, actually innocent, end quote, of the 1994 drive-by shooting, for which they were sentenced to life in prison, plus 170 years. And then if you want to go on to read it on the Frontier, it has quotes by then. And this judge announced her ruling to a packed courtroom Tuesday afternoon, several months after a January evidentiary hearing that examined flaws in the state's case against the two men. So, sometimes justice takes time. But we do have a court system that does work. Unfortunately, it took way too far this time, but it made me feel good that once again, that we the people of Oklahoma had a small part in this. That there was the Oklahoma Innocent Project that had the bulk. I'm so sorry for yawning. That had the bulk of the responsibility for this, and an investigator, Eric Cullen, I believe is his name. I'm just glad that finally they are free and that they're able to be with their family for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter, and whatever holiday, 4th of July, whatever holiday that they choose, that they can wake up and be comfortable in their bed and get up and walk outside, go for a walk, to just be free. Oftentimes, people will confuse liberty and freedom. Liberty is innate. It's born. It's born inside you. When you're born, it's innate, meaning it dwells within you. Freedom is granted to you, or it's given to you. It can be taken away. Remember that. Remember Malcolm Scott and Mr. Carter. It could be you. It could be your child. A miscarriage of justice can happen to you. Be grateful today and pay it forward. I want to thank you for listening to another edition of Political Woodstock.